All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by one of the Rock and Roll Residency members, musicians, all-around great guys, Jeremy Asbrock.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to join us on the show with Neil Davis, one of the organizers of the Kissmas 2020 Kiss Masquerade. Neil, thank you as well for taking the time. I'm going to start with you with a quick question. What is this event and why?
A great question that I could talk all into the evening for, so let me give you the quick answer. What is it is a weekend event geared towards Kiss fans around the music of Kiss, the lifestyle of Kiss, everybody that loves Kiss. And so that's the short story of what it is. It's similar. Everybody who's watching this podcast, I think, is probably knows of, has been to, our Cruise Fest, which I'm one of the organizers for, some of the different Kiss Expos. So it's under the same theme of that. But the reason we did that is those type of events aren't able to happen right now. In fact, Cruise Fest was supposed to happen 6 weeks ago, and we had to cancel it because all those events were designed around a world that we don't live in right now for the time being. So my partner, Brian Bell, and myself, he's one of my partners on Cruise Fest also, sat back a few months ago and said, why don't we, if you were going to have an event, how would you design it? Why don't we talk about how you would, if you put an event on in the COVID world we live in, how would you do it? So we really designed how the event would run first, and then lay the event on top of it, what we're going to put into it as well. And it's all geared around, space, safety. The element that's different than in the past is you have much lower in-person attendance, but now you have a streaming element that gives people around the country, around the world, the opportunity to experience an event like this that might not have been able to in the past. So it's an event we're very excited about. I've said this to many people, is we have a capacity of about 150 people in place, which is much smaller than most of the events that we put on in the past. But without question, it's a much more complex and difficult event to put on, despite it being smaller in scope, if scope is defined by the number of people there.
Jeremy, as part of the Talisman, who are going to be performing a couple of times at this event, as a working musician, what do events like this offer you, other than work? At this time with COVID impacting so many people, how does this help a musician continue to connect with an audience?
Well, we'll start with work. I mean, we'll start there. And, this event, this is our fan base, but, all of that aside, that's everywhere. I was super impressed with the links that Neil has gone to make this a safe event. I saw the layout, and, he's been working with Philip, very closely on this. So Philip's kept me informed on what's going on, and it's very impressive, like to the point where, nobody really knows how long we're going to live in this world. We're hopeful that, this vaccine that everybody's talking about now is going to come through. But even then, we're still not going to reach a normal for a while. But that, this was so well designed that it could set a precedent to have this sort of thing in this world. And it's very impressive.
Yeah, well, thank you. Jeremy, I was telling Julian right before we came on about all the small things that you have to do, and I'm not complaining because this is what we said we were going to do. But for example, where everybody's going to eat, we've got 150 people that are going to eat. So how do you make sure that everybody is eating in a proximity where they're still distance apart? And this location, we're fortunate because it's got an expansive parking lot and tree-lined area. And what we said, we're going to put a table in every parking spot. We have a table. Then we skip a parking spot. Then we put a table. But then we said, well, how do we make sure that's okay? So I went out today and I had to, with our measuring tape, measure the dimensions of parking spots to make sure we were okay. And I was telling Julian, if anybody wants to know, a little fact, a parking spot is 9 feet wide and a handicap spot is 10 feet wide. And we know that because we have to make sure we have enough spots for all the tables and enough room for proper distancing. And that's just a little, and I say it kind of a little tongue in cheek, but that's the things you have to take into consideration that you never would have thought of that a year ago. You never would have thought about it. I mean, in fact, back then you said, we want to cram how many people can we cram into this room? And now it's the exact opposite. Yeah. And it's just a completely reversed way of thinking. And I have said this many times. I don't like that we have to do what we're doing. Don't like it. Wish we weren't doing it. But if we're going to put on an event, you have to do it. You have to adhere to it. We've got to put the procedures in place. The artists have to buy into it, and everybody that's attending has got to be a part of it all. And or you can't have these events. And we take that very seriously, and we relay that to all the guests coming up to the event, and when they arrive at the event as well, they'll see that's the practices that are in place.
Jeremy, as an artist in this time, how do those restrictions affect you and some of the things that you now have to do to protect yourself and your band and the audience?
Well, they affect me in, pretty much the largest way because, without these kind of things, we don't really do anything, and most events aren't going to these lengths. So, the effect is that we just don't play, we don't work. The Talisman have done a few acoustic things lately because, I don't know, there's just something about acoustic music. You can sit at a table and you can space it out versus, energetic loud rock where everybody wants to stand and be close to the stage. So, it's affected me in the hugest way possible. But stuff like this, I feel good about doing. There's still shows we could go out there and do that are unsafe. We all see the videos all the time, and I can't do that. I have type 1 diabetes. I got a newborn in the house, so that stuff's just not really cool. And I don't want to draw any negative attention on us either. That's just like an argument I don't want to get in with people. And I want to be safe. I'm okay with wearing a mask and stuff. So when I was on a call and Neil was showing the layout of how it all works, and correct me if I'm wrong, but all the artists and staff, we all get tested going into the thing, right?
Yeah, so that's right. All the, Jeremy and the band, they have to work closely with the sound production people. And, Jeremy and I are going to need to talk close together. So everybody, and it's a big group of people. I mean, it's probably 40, 50 people between the artists, the production people, all the staff. Every one of us is getting COVID tested on site. In addition, he mentioned the mask. So it's a multi-pronged test factor. So in fact, I'm picking up Jeremy at the airport when he comes to town, and we're taking him over to the testing place right away. And we're all doing that. And again, I go back saying nobody likes it. Sorry that he's got to go have a swab stuck up his nose, but we're all doing that. I'm doing that for Jeremy, and he's doing that for me, and we're all doing that for each other.
And I don't even think about I don't like it. I don't even really care that much. It's just kind of like what you got to do,
Yeah.
So I don't even have a negative feeling about it. It's just kind of part of the situation now. It's what you do. And like I said, after this happens, I really hope this sets a precedent of how you can have an event in this time. And I think that's the most important part of this whole thing. I mean, there's Kiss things that happen all the time, and it's going to be great to see everybody and see our friends and fans and actually even play music together. We don't, me and Ryan and Phil do acoustic things every now and then, but man, plugging in guitars and playing some rock, man, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I think the most important, because I think the thing that everybody's looking at is oh, well, you're having an event. Ooh, should you be having an event right now? How safe is your event? So I think making the safety precautions clear is probably the biggest deal of the whole thing and the biggest point to stress about it, because I think that's what everybody's looking at. I mean, you can look at the lineup and tell it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, even the worst Kiss Expo thing is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a good one,
Yeah.
We got some good stuff happening.
You mentioned the lineup. I think as fans, I think it's fair to say the Talisman are we'll call it the house band. They're playing the most. But they're hosting a lot of other entertainers. But to see them playing, with John Beauvoir, which they've done a few times in the past, but this is when they can play multiple songs with him. Having them play with Rick Derringer and Jeremy. I don't think any of y'all have played with Rick Derringer before.
We have never played with Rick Derringer, and like the rock and roll residency's whole vibe were guys like Rick Derringer, and he's a guy that we never. So yeah, man, you have no idea how excited I am about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's I'll tell you a funny story. When I started talking to him, he goes, yes, I said you're gonna be playing with Ace's band members, and he was kind of pausing, and he goes, well, I did some stuff with Ace back in the '80s, and it was a mess. It's not the same people and so forth. I mean, these guys are tight. So I think in between conversations, he looked you guys up because his tune changed. Because I think at first he was remembering something different, and but he's fantastic. His music stands on its own, and what most Kiss fans know, but maybe not everyone, is that Rick's, aside from being a great musician, has a unique tie to the Kiss world, and that in 1983, when Kiss was recording the Lick It Up album, the first song on the album, the Exciter song, when they recorded it, Vinnie Vincent, who's an amazing guitarist, but for whatever reason, the lead he recorded they didn't feel like it fit the song, so they called Rick up, and he came in and played the lead. And it's a great song, it's a killer lead, and but he played it and hadn't played it since. So this will be the first time since then that he's played it, and he's playing it with Talisman. And I'm excited about the fact that for the first time, Kiss fans, whether you're in person or streaming it, are going to get to see the original guitarist who played Exciter performing it, and which is going to be fantastic. Another quick little joke story, and then I'll turn it back over. I had an opportunity about a decade ago to play with Rick. My band opened up for him at an event, and he used all of our backline, which is the amp, the drums, the PA. And there's a story sometimes as a musician, if you don't sound good at an event, you say, "Well, it's not me. It was the gear, the backline stuff." So we played our set. It was whatever it was. Then he came over and played, and it was like angels from above. It sounded so good. And I remember telling the guys in my band, I go, "Well, we can't blame the backline anymore." And that's, the quality of the musician that he is just and he's just amazing. And I think it's great to see. I mean, he's a legend, and he's and to see him playing with people that are becoming legends. It's kind of like the merging of two generations of musicians.
All inspired seemingly from a very similar route. Rick Derringer, I saw in a bar, a friend's band opened for them in the early 90s outside of Scranton in Pennsylvania. Fantastic catalog of 70s rock that guy has. Just absolutely outstanding. And of course, the Kiss connection's very exciting. So you're holding the Kissmas Masquerade over 2 days, Friday and Saturday, the 18th and 19th of December at the Sarasota Event Center. What led you to choose that area and to make it a 2-day event? Obviously, similar to the cruise, you're having a sailaway party that the Talisman are going to be doing an acoustic set. So, Neil, let's start with you just about the venue and choosing it, and then go to Jeremy about the acoustic set and some of the stuff the Talisman enjoy doing in that format.
Yeah, well, when we started saying if we're going to do this, how would we do it? And there's some amazing hotels in Sarasota that have your traditional 10,000 square foot convention center space. But we couldn't do it there because, again, we needed the ability to essentially control the venue and have a lot of outside space. So the Sarasota Event Center is, I'm not sure when it was built. I guess it was probably in the 70s and the 80s, back when there wasn't as much effort to try to put as much as possible on a piece of property. So it's got 22-foot ceilings indoors. It's got expansive parking lot and areas. So it really fit what we were trying to accomplish about having lots of room. And they've had a lot of concerts and events there before, and so I'm familiar with it because I live in Sarasota. And just realize that it doesn't have the glitz and glamour of a downtown Miami hotel, but it has everything that we need right now as far as space and functionality.
And it's not in downtown Miami, which is also a very nice thing. That's a positive as well.
Yeah, that's right. So, but it's great. I really think for all of us, Julian, you're probably gonna remember this growing up as a kid, going to these old, kind of smoke. None of them are smoky anymore, but these old rock halls, just big halls that, high ceilings and they're not fancy. There's 4 walls and a ceiling. And, that's what this is. Now it's been kept up. It's in nice shape. But it's, again, you look up and, it's all, it's 20 plus feet in the air for the ceiling. And, we're having a second stage outside. We've got room for a whole concert hall area outside. We've got a room for people to have merchants. And then we have a completely separate area for people to eat their meals as well. And it just, what we like about it is that it was on I think at the whole, it's up to 5-acre campus for us to put the whole event on.
Nice, very nice. So on Friday, the 18th, the event's going to kick off with the Kissmas Happy Hour, hosted by Eric Alberti and the lovely Julie.
Yes.
Then you're going to kick into the 2020 Sail Away show featuring the Talisman. Jeremy, what can fans expect? And obviously, you're not going to say everything.
Right. Well, we've been out kind of semi-touring acoustically, doing some random stuff, in Nashville and out of Nashville acoustically. So I don't know if you've followed any of our live streams. It's going to be largely based around what we're doing. We have been adding some other stuff like Van Halen songs and some Hair of the Dog and some rock and roll residency stuff from our EP, but I don't think we're going to do any of that. I think we're just going to stick to the Kiss stuff. So if you're real curious, you can go search out one of those live streams we did. But yeah, man, I'm going to hold my cards close to the chest. Everybody knows we like Kiss. We can dig pretty deep, and we will not be playing rock and roll all night.
No, and yeah. I did want to congratulate you, by the way, on the Rock and Roll Residency EP that came out earlier this year in July. Really, really fun listen. So thanks a lot for giving us some music.
It's been sitting in the cloud for about 3 years now, so I'm grateful that it actually made it out of the cloud and people can hear it.
Yeah, and anyone wanting to check that out can go to the Rock and Roll Residency on Bandcamp.com. Just throw those words into a search and it'll take you straight there.
At this point now, man, you can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, like anywhere you stream music or download it, you can go there and you'll find it.
But I'll say go to Bandcamp because then the artists actually get some money.
Yeah, we actually do get the money there. That's a very good point. Forget what I said. Bandcamp is the only place you can get it.
Neil, you also got Led Zeppelin cover band who'll be following the residency on stage, and then the Cruise Fest 2021 official announcement. And all that stuff, people are just going to have to enjoy in person. There's not much to add to that. But headliner that night, of course, Jean Beauvoir. The fantastic Jean Beauvoir will be joining the Talisman in concert. You're going to get to plug in, and as you said, the difference of plugging in and playing acoustic is a marked difference in sound and attitude. How much are you looking forward to getting loud?
So, I know we've got a mostly adult audience here. It's kind of like if you don't have sex for a really long time and then you finally get to. It's a lot like that. And it's not just playing music, it's playing with my guys and, playing Kiss songs.
But Jeremy, using that example though, don't make it go too quick.
Yeah.
So it's got to last. It's got to last a little while. So
luckily I have 2 days. It's been 3 sets to spread it out.
Okay. Yeah.
Now I've seen Phil's been busy practicing his rock and roll over bass lines. Let's talk rock and roll over for a minute. As a Kiss album, it's my favorite. It is the one album I will go to at any time, even though I became a fan in the 80s. It is my Kiss album. What does an album like Rock and Roll Over mean to you, Jeremy?
It's funny because when I was a young kid and, I had every record when I was little, Rock and Roll Over was my least favorite. But as I got older, it's hard for me to rank Kiss albums because, I don't know, at one time or another, they're all in the top. But I guess since I neglected Rock and Roll Over a lot growing up, I liked it more as an adult because I'd not listened to it as much as I had, say, I don't know, Alive 2 or something like that. And that was another thing. I preferred all the Alive 2 versions of those songs versus the studio versions because it sounded like streamlined rock, you know. So now, you know, Rock and Roll Over sits really high. So, and, you know, a lot of those songs aren't really in a Kiss set, nor have they ever been. So I think it's fun for Kiss fans to hear those songs in, you know, a live presentation. Like, See You in Your Dreams, you know, Kiss doesn't play that song. Love 'Em, Leave 'Em, you know, they don't play that. So that's going to be fun stuff to play and see people's reaction and, you know, shit, even if I was in the crowd and heard a band playing those songs, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I think with how we saw Phil practicing Loving Him and Leave Him, you and Orion are going to have to work up some moves to counter his bass on that song because he's looking like he's doing full-on choreographing for that song, just like Gene did.
Well, I guess
in the
it'll have
video.
to be me and him because no, Phil is singing that one. So yeah, me and Ryan will have to. I guess we will have to work that out, won't we? However, when we do Hard Luck Woman, you will not be seeing me reaching my arms around Ryan to play a double neck guitar or anything.
We got
like
the
that.
double neck for you. Wait a minute, you're not doing that?
Yeah. Well, Ryan's a big guy. I can't reach around him, and he's taller than me, so he'd probably have to hunch over too far to.
Yeah, I don't think the optics of that are going to work too well. But there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? I got to be honest. I don't even think the optics worked that very well when Kiss did it either. It's a little weird.
No. All right. Saturday is kind of the main event, right? The Kiss Masquerade opens at 10 a.m. Tell us what fans who attend in person can experience during the actual Masquerade.
Sure. So we've got, you know, a lot of great, you know, Kiss vendors, merchandise people are going to be set up in the outside, so you can go and get some last minute presents for the Kiss fan you love, or if that Kiss fan you love is yourself, you can get something for yourself. But we start with music and activities literally first thing in the morning. And we have a Florida musician named Gary Shutt, who's literally just a good guitar virtuoso, and his style has always been very, very similar to Eddie Van Halen. And, you know, with all the challenges and tough things that have happened this year, losing Eddie certainly ranks up there, I think, with everybody. So we want to start off Saturday with a special salute to the music, the leads of Eddie Van Halen. And he's going to perform, you know, the different songs and segments that you know made Eddie Eddie. And you know, I think we'd all agree there's only one Eddie Van Halen, but there's probably 20 people across the country that if you close your eyes and listen to them, it sounds like you're listening to Eddie Van Halen. You know, Jeremy's one of them, but he's going to be busy, so he can't do it. So Gary's one of the other ones. So we're going to start with that. And
I sound more like Michael Anthony. Phil sounds like Eddie Van Halen.
Okay, so and then after that we have a special. You know, we have a special lunch, and then we're having something called Tour Talk, and Jeremy's going to be a part of it. And you know, Julian, as a fan, there's things that you know we are curious about that Jeremy and the other guys live. You know, what's it, we see what it's like for them to play on stage with Ace and with Gene. What's it like the other 22 hours between the shows? You know, what's it like when you travel? What are the experiences like? What's the interactions? And tell us some stories. What are things that stick out in your mind about with Gene and with?
I got to say, I'm really looking forward to that because, like, an answer to a question like that, there's actually two answers. There's like, okay, you're in this other band. You know what? It's okay. The travel kind of sucks. Or blah 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 blah. But I hang out with Ryan and Phil. And we hang out in airports and all these places together, and you know, we have mastered the art of having a good time.
Yeah. So.
So all of that stuff you just said with those guys is a whole lot of fun. There's not, I can't remember. I really can't remember a lot of bummers, man. Everything's been just a fucking blast.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to talking about that because it's not always like that.
And Julian, I think you'd agree with me that we as fans look forward to hearing that type of stuff.
Oh, absolutely, and especially when you've got someone like Keith LaRue as well, who's traveled
Yep.
the world with a band like Kiss. Think
Yep.
of some of the
And
stories
also,
he's got.
like, we'll be able to have some pretty interesting conversations with Keith because, like, for instance, when we were in Japan with Ace, Keith was there with us. Keith was running his meet and greets in between, and like, he was part of that whole experience with us. So, we'll be able to talk about it and probably remind each other of stuff that happened that
Yeah,
the other had forgotten about.
that's right. That's right.
And I haven't seen Keith in a while either, so that'll be pretty
Yeah, yeah, that'd be fun. He and a group of people are actually, I think, coming down and doing Disney World next week. So they're making it a whole week experience. But after,
I'm sure PJ's going to be with him if they're going to Disney World then.
yeah, yeah. Have you seen PJ's hair? I play Gene in a Kiss tribute band. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I saw he cut
telling
his-
people, I'm gonna put him down and cut his hair off and use it as my wig for Gene going forward. It's thrown out so much.
He's got plenty to spare.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So so after the tour talk, we have Kurt Froelich. He's the singer guitarist in Steve Riley's L.A. Guns, and it's really the Kurt Froelich and Friends, and it's a group of musicians. Jeremy, who you were on his new album, he's gonna be playing with them, and a few other people.
I'm in a project called Minefield with Brandon Fields, who started as a young fan of mine, but then, stayed the course and kept doing it, and now he is my colleague.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a project that I do with him and Todd Kearns from Slash's band and Matt Starr from Ace's band. So yeah, Brandon will be down there playing with Kurt. I'll actually be playing bass on a couple songs with them. They're doing a pass the bass around thing with their set, and
Yeah.
all of the Talisman will be playing bass on a couple songs at some point.
Oh, very
So
cool.
that'll be
Yeah. So, and they're doing some really cool sampling of Kiss songs from a specific era and specific albums, and it's going to be great. Once that wraps up, we go into another panel discussion. And I don't know if I mentioned or I didn't mention it earlier, but Eddie Trunk will be in attendance in Sarasota, and he's really the MC for the event. Really tying together the different events and moderating some of these conversations. So the second panel talk will be with Rick Derringer. And we talked about him musically a few minutes ago, but there's so many things that I think that people would want to know. And I remember I was fortunate enough to have dinner with him a few weeks ago, and he was telling me, we were at a table, so I didn't want to pick his brain too much. But he goes, yeah, I remember Gene Simmons calling me, and I want to hear it. Then the waitress came up and took his order, and then I was like, what were you going to say? What were you going to say? But that's the type of stuff that we want to hear. And Jeremy was talking about recording this album, Minefield. When you record things today, by and large, you sit, everyone can do it electronically, and they send the file to each other. Back then, you went to a studio. So what was it like when you went in the studio? Who was in the studio with you? What did you talk about? What was Gene and Paul's reactions to it all? What do you think about the song? I mean, there's a lot of things that I think as fans we want to hear. And Rick, there's a lot of great storytellers out there. Rick's never done one of these expos before. This is his first one. This is his first time talking about his experience being a part of Kiss. So and I don't even know what he's going to say. So we decided just let just be Eddie Trunk interviewing Rick Derringer. So that'll happen after that. Then something we're really excited about is with one of Jeremy's colleagues, Phil Schaus. Since Phil doesn't have two young kids at home, he has a lot of time on his hands. So he put together a video, internet TV show called Schaus Rules, and it's where he interviews different bands. But he starts it off, all three of them are very kind of witty, charismatic guys, and he gets in front and does like a monologue. So it's creating, but he's always pre-recorded. For the first time ever, we're doing Schaus Rules, live at Kissmas Masquerade, and he's interviewing John Babar. I think he might Chip from Enough's Enough will be there as well. And there's some other things that I just wish I could tell you about that's going to happen. But there's some things we're sworn to secrecy that are going to happen in that I think are going to be when they say
Kiss fans are going to. I know what it is, and if you're a diehard Kiss fan,
it's never been done.
Are going to eat it up.
You hear that thing, it's something about going viral. If anything has a chance of going viral, it's what Jeremy are talking about. And we just can't say anymore, not because we don't want to. It's just we think it's so cool we don't want to ruin the surprise. And so we're having the Schaus Rules. Then after that, it's dinner time. We have a outdoor barbecue. Both of the meals, we have a lunch hosted by Jay Jadowski and his daughter, and which is outdoors. Then we're having a barbecue pit outside, and we're having a dinner. And a lot of people know, but not everybody does, it's Ryan Cook's birthday next Saturday. So we're going to have a barbecue dinner, a special birthday celebration for Ryan. You know, again, how do you do things differently? You can't have a cake that you cut and everybody grabs. So everybody's getting their own cupcake. And Ryan's going to come out and have a cupcake with a candle on it to blow it out, and we'll all sing him happy birthday. And you know, I think that'll be fun for us, and hopefully we can make his birthday celebration special for him as well. So that's when daytime transitions to nighttime, and we move inside to the concert hall, and we have 4 performances that night. It starts off with actually, you know, my band Kiss America, and I'm not performing this year because we're putting on the event. I've got a fill-in, but what we're doing is, again, with the idea that this is supposed to be different, it's for Kiss fans, is we are taking, you know, if you're an old Kiss fan, you remember the first 3 albums were repackaged as the originals. So we're calling this the Originals Deep Cut Show. So we're taking songs from those first 3 albums that aren't played, you know, like songs like Deuce and Black Diamond, great songs, but you can hear them regularly. You don't hear Ladies in Waiting, you don't hear Love Her All I Can, songs like that. So you'll hear songs from those 3 albums that aren't frequently or ever played as well. We're also not using the more costumes that you see, like Destroyer Love Gun. It's all the early black leather Hotter Than Hell costumes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're excited about it. And after that, you know, Enough's Enough is going to be in town, and they're performing. You know, I don't know if everybody knows, but Doc McGee was the person who kind of, quote, was the founder, you know, discovered that band. And, you know, they're a great band. I've had the opportunity to see them in concert, and they're going to come out and I know do a great show. Third, then we're having, which is, I think, everybody, I think including the other artists, Jeremy, everyone else is excited about, is Bruce Kulick and Todd Kearns. They live on the west coast of the country. They're streaming a performance, an acoustic performance to us of acoustic Kiss. And, you know, I've been fortunate. I've seen the set list. Amazing. And, you know, anybody that's been on the Kiss cruise or watched the videos know when Bruce and Todd they're together.
I told you, here it is.
Yeah, there he is. Hey, young man.
Luckily, he can't hear you, and you can't hear him because I have my earbuds.
Okay, well, we'll just wait.
So he can carry on.
Yeah, so Bruce and Todd are playing a performance for us, and you know, it's going to be, you know, I think, you know, fantastic. And then the headliners, you know, for the evening, the live headliners, you know, the Talisman, and they're really, in all practical senses, doing 2 shows. They're coming out and playing the Rock and Roll Over album, all the songs on it. Then they're going to step off, and for their encore, they're going to be playing some other songs, including, we talked about Rick Derringer. Rick Derringer will be joining, and probably a few other surprises that.
We got a few other deep cuts that we're just going to do.
Yeah.
In this box.
That's just going to be fantastic. And you know what? Bruce, I don't think, has ever let the fans down with one of his set lists that he's put together at these events. So, I mean, that's really exciting. It's great that the Rock and Roll Residency, the Talisman, are going to be doing.
Yeah, this is definitely the Talisman. I know it all gets a lot very blurry because it's all the same guys, but this is definitely the Talisman.
Absolutely. It's so easy to slip up and go back to the other name.
Other guys in our other family that aren't like, yeah, I know we crossed the streams and now it's confusing for everybody. But I don't know. I sort of feel like me, Phil, and Ryan as a package, we are definitely the Talisman.
Yeah.
That was.
So that'll be the highlight of the second night, right? And, you know, does everything wrap up after that, or are you guys going to keep going all night long?
Well, no, we're not going all night long. I think some of our all-night days are behind us. And if there's a sad part of it all is, you know, we wrap up around 11:30 midnight and, you know, and call it an evening, and then everybody wakes up and, you know, has to go home the next day. But, you know, you go home, we go into Christmas week, and everybody gets to go home to their family or loved ones and get ready for that. And fortunately, we're hoping you go into the holidays with some great memories and, you know, finishing what's been, by all practical purposes, a pretty rough riding year for most of us, finishing on a highlight, on a high note. And that's what really our intent is that it'll be great to see everybody and participate in. It'll be sad to say goodbye, but it'll be a wonderful way to have put a kind of cherry on top of this year and look forward to better days ahead in 2011. 2021.
21. And maybe, people be able to look at this and it be a model for how stuff works until we don't have to do it like this anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a real positive, Jeremy, about, making the best of the situation. And Neil, like you just said, to maybe look back on 2020, which has not been a good year, to be able to look at the things in this year that are good. Because even though it's been a challenge, it's not been all bad. It's moments like this and what people are able to make of them and to enjoy. So, tickets available? What's the story on people being able to attend this?
Well, Julian, thank you for bringing that up. Because we've talked about the being in Sarasota, and I think tickets sold out today. But what's not more important, but just as important, is we've made a huge commitment on being a streaming event, and for a lot of reasons. One, because if you can there's more than 150 people that want to experience something like this, and we just couldn't fit them, so we had to limit it. And but this also, when you try to look at this like a pandemic situation, and how do you try to take some good out of bad? And what it's done is it's forced us, as people put on events, it's forced entertainers like Jeremy to look at new ways to provide entertainment for people, to provide music for people. And a streaming situation has been started to be done quite regularly since the pandemic. Now, they've been all types. You'll have people playing in their living room. You have Kiss on New Year's Eve, a huge production. And what we want to do was show that in addition to having in person, you could have a quality live streaming event for people across the world to experience as well. So we put in a major investment, and this is not going to be a couple of people sitting with their iPhones up streaming it all. We've got 4 or 5 cameras, some fixed ones, some handhelds. We've got a data room in the back where we have people, literally a director who's watching them all and making like a pay-per-view show, so you're getting all the right shots as well, and so people can see a pay-per-view quality for event, and the whole 2 days is only it's $12 to see it for live stream.
$12, man. I mean, like what else? Nobody's going to office Christmas parties. Like what else are you gonna do? Like,
I mean, you can't go to movies right now, but if you went to the movie theaters, you pay for one ticket, it's $12 now, and you get both days for $12. And you can watch up for 48 hours later, because we have people that are bought from all over the world. Well, it might be the middle of the night at certain times, or they might be working, so they can catch part of it. And then when they get off work and when they wake up, they can watch another part of it. Or if they love the Talisman Sail Away show, they might want to watch it over and over for a couple of days. So it's a great experience, and we've talked a lot about being in person, but it's just as important and just as good of opportunity as live streaming. And as a person who puts on these type of events, I'm excited. I hope this format survives after. Whenever this all goes away, I think there's an opportunity, like when we do Cruise Fest next year, even though we have thousands of people of that. There's people across the world that can't come to Miami, so it gives us the opportunity to let people enjoy this entertainment, even if they can't be there.
I love it. You're pioneering things that will probably continue to be important in the industry as we recover from this pandemic and going down the road. New revenue opportunities, perhaps streaming events. I
definitely think streaming has found its way into society permanently.
Yeah.
That thing, the amped up version of it, that's not going away. That's going to be part of our lives, probably forever. And while we're talking about it, meethook.live is where you're going to find this.
Yeah, Meethook, which is MEET hook.live, is our streaming partner. You can go, that's our website, and you can buy your tickets, your $12 tickets there. You can also go to our website, which is Kissmas, KISSMAS, 2020.com, and we have a link to it. Now, Julian, you said something very nice. You said I'm a pioneer about streaming. I don't know if I can take that. There's a lot of people that are doing it, but I'll tell you what I am a pioneer in I am a pioneer. We are the only streaming event that for everybody that buys a ticket to the streaming event, you get put into a raffle for this replica bass guitar. So only for streamers. The people that are in attendance don't get in the auction, or the raffle. Every streaming person gets in a raffle, and Phil Schaus is going to play this bass, and one person from the live stream will have this bass shipped to them. And so we're the first live streaming ones that gives you an opportunity to get an Axe bass given to you just for watching something that you probably want to watch anyways. So, excited about that. Buy a ticket for yourself, buy one for your friends and family, and then you take the raffle ticket for the bass.
That's real nice. And Gene didn't trademark Kissmas? Really? Simmons is slipping. Oh, yeah. My goodness. Great raffle. Is the streaming available worldwide?
He doesn't watch this podcast because he'll go. Yeah.
So is the streaming open worldwide, or are there any restrictions?
Nope, it's worldwide streaming. There's some platforms like Zoom came out with a platform for concert streaming as well, but it's limited to the U.S. And we really wanted to. The Kiss world is a global audience.
Yeah, it is, man. That was one thing when I got into the world. It's actually it was the Kiss cruise. That's where I learned. Like, wow, man! Like I knew that Kiss was big all over the world, but when you see it, like, wow.
Yeah.
And then after playing with the guys, and like seeing it through that lens, it is a global phenomenon. Like limiting this to the U.S. would be silly.
Yeah. No, absolutely would be. Julian, I'll tell you, Jeremy just reminded me a quick story about the Kiss cruise. It was Kiss Cruise 8 that you guys were on it. And just coincidence, their rooms were right next to our room. And we kept just, going out, and they said that he's buddies with them all. They all, their doors all open at the same time. They walk out at the same time. They come back together. But we just happened to, because you're, right next to each other, saw them all the time, and we didn't know them at the time. But I remember saying just, hey guys, man, great set. They are all just the genuinely nicest guys, and, to everybody. And, I was just one of 2,500 people on the boat, just happened to be staying next to them. And they always, you could tell, genuine, and they still to this point, because I deal with them all the time now. They love what they're doing. They're appreciative of the people that they perform for. They're great at what they're doing, and we're just so fortunate and honored to have them coming to Sarasota and being a part of our event.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We're just dudes, man. And that's why we've all been like just tight friends for so long now. I mean, like I've been tight with Phil for 20 years now.
Oh wow.
He and I didn't even play together until we were tight buds for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And all this stuff just sort of happened. It's just so wild. You don't really get the opportunity to do stuff like this with your friends. You're usually put into a situation with people that you're already in that situation. You become friends out of that, but we were all like buds that would sit around and watch Kiss videos and shit, and then we wind up on this adventure together. I mean, I can remember vividly me and Phil going to see Ace at the Wild Horse in Nashville and just rocking the fuck out and getting our asses kicked. Ace was really good that night, and look what happened. It's so wild. I'm very appreciative of everybody. Just even the simple thing of getting to play guitar for people and meagerly support my family on that. I mean, what a dream come true.
Yeah.
And I get to do it with these guys, playing for these guys. I mean, that's the odds of winning Powerball are better.
Yeah.
Awesome. Neil, anything final to add before we wrap up? You just want to give a quick summary of where people can go again to find out all the details?
Well, sure. The Kissmas2020.com has the lineup, the schedules, the links to buy tickets. We had actually a stage played guitar that you could buy from who are we doing? Phil Ryan. No, we had a stage plays guitar that just sold. We're gonna have some other things as well, and you can read about it all. And again, you can buy your streaming tickets for $12 for the event. And again, we hope everybody enjoys it. We put this on. My partner Brian Bell and I put this on for the reason because we love music. We love Kiss music. We love the people around it. We love everything about it. And it was our opportunity to play a part and bring something, a bright spot to what's been a pretty dreary year for everybody. So we're proud of the event and looking forward, Jeremy, to see you in 10 days from now.
Yeah, man.
And I know
the Brandon's podcast that I did 2 nights ago, he's like, I can actually say like next weekend. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it is next weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And Julian, it's a pleasure to be on your show as well, and encourage you to keep doing what you're doing and kind of keep the dream alive.
I'm just looking forward to next year being able to get back to Nashville in August. So that's my time of year. That was put off this year.
Yeah,
I definitely hope that happens. I want
Is that the Rocket Pod?
The Rocket Pod, yep. But that'll be another show. All right, guys. Neil, Jeremy, have the best of events. Jeremy, safe travels there as well. I hope you guys have.
Thank you, Neil, for putting on the event and having us, and going to such great lengths to make sure this is, if people want to put it under a microscope, it's going to look pretty good.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's a kind of undertaking of love.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
Thanks,
Neil.
guys.
I'll see you next weekend.
Okay. See you, buddy. Bye. Thank you,
man.
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.